Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the It's Attainable Real Estate Investing Show, Episode 1.
Welcome to the It's Attainable Real Estate Investing Show, where you will learn about investing, the power of real estate investing, and how to invest in it. Whether you have the time or even if you don't, you're going to see it's attainable either way. And now your host, who always wants to share knowledge with you, Christopher Balkin.
Hey everyone, it's Episode 1. So exciting. I'm glad you're here with me. I'm excited to bring knowledge to you and collaborate with you on the topic of investing and the impact that the power of real estate investing can have on your wealth. We're going on a journey defined as going from one place to another. So we're going to start right now on some basic things like savings, or as you will see, not saving, and also investing. We'll start here so you'll be prepared and can understand deeper discussions that I bring to you in the future and those that my guests will bring to you on future podcasts. Actually, we're going to call it a show, not a podcast, because podcasts are typically tied to audio, and this show is going to be made up of audio and video. Not just video so you can see me, but video so you can see visuals, such as charts and graphs and numbers, things that'll paint a picture of what we're discussing. Sometimes you'll hear from me and I'll share knowledge, and other times you'll hear from guests that I bring on the show and they'll share their knowledge and experience. The shows will be bi-weekly, and when news comes up that's applicable to our discussion or conversation, I'll come to you in between shows as well. Let's get started. Many of us are taught to save but not invest. Why? Well, I looked up the definition of saving versus investing. It's pretty interesting. I learned something myself. You see, I knew what it was, but it's interesting to see the actual definition tell us exactly reality. The definition of saving. Saving is something not spent, or for this conversation, money not spent. The definition of invest. To allocate money in the expectation of some benefit in the future. Simply put, you put money in and you expect some type of return or some type of benefit in the future. So this is where things are interesting. This is where I thought it was a little bit funny, because as we talk about savings accounts and we talk about investing, the definition of a saving is money not spent. So that doesn't give us any indication that we're going to have any type of increase in that savings or increase in return or anything like that. It just sounds like income not spent or money not spent. So what we put there is just going to be there when we come back to it, and it's not going to increase unless we add money to it to increase it. Investing sounds to me from the definition that you put money there, you put something there, and when you come back to it, it's going to have increased from what it was before. So when we talk about savings accounts in a couple of minutes, we're going to see that what we put into the savings account, when we come back to it later, we'll use an easy example like a year. A year later, it's almost exactly what it was a year before. Let's look up one more definition, and we'll make this one quick. Inflation. Inflation is a quantitative measure of the rate at which the average price level of a basket of selected goods and services in an economy increases over a period of time. That sounds like a complicated definition, so let me make it simple. The cost of everyday things like your basic food and beverages, so I'm thinking about just basic things like cereal, milk, coffee, furniture, clothing, transportation, recreational expenses, toys, things like that. Over a period of time, typically measured in a year's time, those things go up. How much do they go up? On average across the world, they go up approximately 2%. So why is that? Why is the world like that? Why do everyday items go up in price year after year? Many things, not everything, but many things. Well, let's use this example. If you're employed by organization or company, or maybe you even have your own business, employees will typically get at least a 2% raise per year. Well, there's a reason for that. You hope, you target, you should get at least typically 2% a year. As I said, there's a reason for that. Why? Because we just said that inflation causes or equals the goods and services, just everyday things that you want or need for your home or for your household. Each year, they go up 2%. So your employer gives you at least a 2% raise, or they should, each year, just so the money that you make or the wages or the salaries that you receive from that employer can allow you to continue to buy the things that you purchased in the prior year. Well, if that employer gives all of their employees a 2% raise, that means that that employer's costs just went up. So they have two choices. Absorb the cost increase, which means their profits will decrease, or the employer is probably providing some type of goods or some type of service. They can just increase the price that they're selling those goods or services for. Let me use an example. Let's say you work in a grocery store. I'm using the grocery store as an example because we all have a need to eat to live and survive. Let's say you work at a grocery store. The grocery store gives all the employees a 2% raise at the end or the beginning of the following year. They do that because, as we've discussed so far, the employees, in order to take care of their homes and their households and to buy basic food and services, those things go up 2% each year. That's inflation. So to at least give you the ability to take care of your home and your household the same way you did last year, they give you a 2% raise. Well, the grocery store, again, is faced with two options. They can either absorb that 2%, which means their costs increase to their business and their profits go down, or they can increase the cost of the groceries they sell to the consumers or to others. They increase the cost 2%, then their profit may be the exact same way as it was last year. At least they didn't decrease in profit. But that means those goods that they sold or that the grocery store sells, the food and beverages and such that they sell to the consumers or to everyone, they've got to pay 2% more. That's inflation. That's the circle of the economy. As the cost of doing business, or in this case, the cost of labor, goes up, the prices of the services or the goods, or in this case, the food that that business or company provides, has to go up equally, or it doesn't have to. The company or the grocery store could take a loss in profit or find some other type of way to cover their costs. But many times we see the cost of the goods or the services go up to cover that cost. So inflation, investing, saving, it's all tied together. I started at the top of the show saying we are taught to save but not invest. Why? I think it's just knowledge. I think it's knowledge sharing, and that's what I'm here to share. Did you know what inflation was? If you did you know the percent that it increases by each year? Did you know what a basket of goods was? As we defined a few moments ago, just everyday basic food, beverage, services. Let's remember that 2% number. It's going to be important as we move forward. Savings accounts. So as we save, as we said, we're taught to save. Banks advertise and a lot of places advertise putting your money into a savings account. Well, what happens when you put your money into a savings account? Like the definition says, it's money or income not spent. You can expect to put money into a savings account or somewhere and come back to it and find it exactly the way it was when you left it. And we're going to use a year, for example, just to keep the math and things simple as we discuss. However, banks at times will give you an interest return on what you put in the bank. Now, I looked up some local rates on what that return was, or what that interest that they will give you for storing your money. I got two categories of interest rates locally. So your local banks, wherever you are, on average, the local interest rates that a bank will give you for storing your money is 0.10% to 0.15%. Notice I didn't say 1% or 1.5%, but a fraction of a percent, 0.10 to 0.15%. The other category is online, 1.75% to 2%. So let's take locally first, because that's typically the banks you have your checking accounts with, or the banks you see locally as you traverse to and from daily. First, you already learned that inflation is 2%. I know I keep saying that. It's an important number to keep track of. So if you get 0.1% return or interest on the dollars that you put into your local bank, on average, if you put in $100, you're getting 10 cents after a year. If you put in $1,000, when you come back in 1 year's time, the bank will have paid you $1 total. If you put $100,000 in the bank, congratulations, because in 1 year's time, the bank will have given you $100. Now, maybe that's nice because you didn't have to do anything for that. It was unearned income. You didn't have to do anything with the bank. You didn't have to work for it anymore. It just sat there, and the bank decided that over the course of that 365 days, they would give you $100 for that $100,000, $1 for that $1,000, or 10 cents for the $100 that's set in that account for the entire year. It meets the definition of saving. When you put the dollars in there, you come back, it's almost exactly the same as it was as when you left it. So that's saving. The unfortunate thing is that that is not keeping up with inflation. So did you actually make money or have a return or receive money for what you had sitting in the bank for a year? Or did you lose money? I'm going to say you lost money, because think about it. That thingamabob basic need, or that milk, or whatever it is, let's just say that device or that item or that service was $100 this year. Your $100 that you had saved up, set in the bank, and at the end of the year, at the end of 1 year, you earned 0.10% on that $100. So you have $100.10. However, because of inflation being 2%, that thingamabob that you would have bought this year, next year it's $102. So you do not have enough money based on that $100 to buy that thingamabob, because it is now $102 and you only received 10 cents from the bank. You are $1.90 short. It gets worse. The more money that you put into the bank, you do earn more, but you are losing more. Think about it. What if you were saving for your child's college education? Let's just say that education was $50,000. You had $50,000 sitting in the bank this year, and next year at the same time, based on 0.1% interest rate, the bank would have given you $50. Well, that's great. Or is it great? Because due to inflation at 2%, the cost of that education would be $51,000, and you have $50,050. So instead of that thingamabob that you were $1.90 short, you are $950 short on that education. Now that's just 1 year. It doesn't get better year over year. It gets worse each year, because each year your savings account gives you 0.10% and inflation goes up 2%. So the gap just increases and increases and increases and increases. Is it possible to do better? Of course it is. You bet it is. It's attainable. That's the name of the show. You can do much better than the 0.10 to 0.15% savings locally. The other category of savings, online savings, 1.75 to 2%. That at least equals inflation. So if you don't do anything else, at least put your money into one of the online savings accounts and at least be equal to inflation versus lagging behind. With a 2% interest rate, at least over a year's time, 2% on $100 becomes $2 instead of 10 cents that you got on the 0.1% interest rate. On $1,000 over a year's time, 2% of $1,000 is $20 instead of $1. On that $50,000 example, for your child's college education, 2% on $50,000 becomes $1,000 instead of $50 on the 0.10%. And on $100,000 over a year's time, the bank gives you $2,000 from that online savings account instead of $100 over a year's time from the 0.10% from your local bank. You can do a search online and find the online savings that give you the 1.75% to 2%. Feel free to reach out and I can help you find those online savings accounts as well. But that's status quo. I didn't come here to share knowledge just to bring you to status quo. I came here to share knowledge to take you beyond. Stop just trying to keep up and let's get ahead. How do you get ahead? Well, we talked about saving and if you're really saving anything or not. And on the next show, we're going to talk about investing. You saw the difference between 0.10% savings and 2% savings. What if you could get 4% or 5% or 7% or 8%? Imagine what that will look like. For your family, for you, for your retirement, whatever your aspirations are. It's attainable. And that's where the name of the show came from. So you have to join me next time. We're going to dive into investing. Let's continue on this journey. So subscribe, make a calendar reminder, put a post-it note in your refrigerator. Somehow make sure you don't miss the next episode so we can move forward. Share it with others too. That's what this is all about. Knowledge sharing. We can be better together. Before you leave a comment or ask a question. I read them all, so if I can make the show better for you, I will. Your question might even end up as a topic on the show or a part of question and answer shows in the future. If you want to engage further on bringing real estate investing into your plans, I am at neelyrealty.com/engage. That's NILEE realty.com/engage.
You have been listening to the It's Attainable Real Estate Investing Show, sharing transparent knowledge on investing and the powerful impact real estate investing can have on your wealth and lifestyle. Follow or subscribe to the show using your favorite podcast app so you'll know firsthand when a new show is released, or visit neelyrealty.com/podcast and see the show there. That's NILEE realty.com/podcast.